Just after sunrise, a little girl's body was found in a silent alley in Maple Ridge. No one knew her name, and no one wanted to step closer. But when a teenager finally spoke up, the entire crowd turned toward one man, because the person who killed her wasn't a stranger, he was living right there among them. The first thing I noticed was the silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind that makes your chest tight because you know something is wrong. It was just after sunrise in our small town of Maple Ridge, the sort of place where everyone waves at each other and nothing ever really happens. I was walking my usual route to the corner grocery when I passed the narrow alley between Parker's hardware store and an old brick apartment building. That's when I saw her. A little girl. She couldn't have been more than 7 or 8. She was lying on the cold pavement, her small body curled slightly on one side, as if she had fallen asleep there. Her dress was pale blue, now dirty with dust. One shoe was missing. For a second, my mind refused to understand what my eyes were seeing. Then the truth hit me like ice in my veins. She wasn't asleep. She was dead. I froze in the middle of the alley entrance, my heart pounding so loudly it echoed in my ears. "Hey!" I shouted instinctively, though I didn't know who I was calling. "Someone call 911!" But the strange thing was, people had already passed by. A delivery driver stood near his truck at the end of the street, staring but not moving. A couple from the apartment building looked down from a balcony, whispering nervously. No one was stepping forward. No one wanted to be the first. Maybe they were scared. Maybe they thought it wasn't their problem. Or maybe the shock had turned everyone into statues. I stepped closer. Her face was pale and peaceful, but there was a faint bruise near her neck. I swallowed hard. "She's just a child," I whispered. Within minutes, more neighbors started gathering. Mrs. Carter from the bakery arrived first, clutching her apron like a shield. Then old Mr. Jenkins with his walking cane. A few teenagers from the nearby houses hovered at the edges, their phones out, but their faces uneasy. "Who is she?" someone asked. No one answered. "I've never seen her before," Mrs. Carter said softly. "She's not from this street," Mr. Jenkins added. That made the silence heavier. A dead child, and no one even knew her name. The police should have come quickly after my call, but our town station was small and short-staffed. They said a patrol car was on the way, but the minutes stretched long, and the crowd kept growing. Finally, a young woman pushed through the crowd. Her name was Emily Torres, a nurse who lived in the building next to the alley. She knelt beside the girl carefully, checking for any sign of life. After a moment, she shook her head slowly. "She's gone." A murmur moved through the crowd like wind through dry leaves. Emily studied the body more closely. "This isn't an accident," she said quietly. Everyone leaned in. "What do you mean?" I asked. She pointed gently. "There are marks on her wrists and that bruise near her neck." My stomach turned. Someone had hurt her. Badly. A few neighbors started whispering angrily. "Who would do this? This town used to be safe. Some monster must have brought her here." But something about that didn't sit right with me. If someone had dumped her body here, why this alley? Why our neighborhood? Then Mr. Jenkins tapped his cane against the ground thoughtfully. "Maybe the killer didn't bring her here," he said slowly. "Maybe they live here." Those words landed like thunder. The crowd went quiet again. Suddenly, everyone was looking at each other differently. Emily stood up. "Before the police arrive," she said firmly, "we should remember what we've seen this morning. Anything unusual?" Mrs. Carter frowned. "Well, around midnight, I heard a car door slam outside the bakery." "What kind of car?" I asked. I couldn't see clearly, but it was dark, maybe a black sedan. A teenager named Kyle raised his hand nervously. "I saw something too." All eyes turned to him. "I was gaming late in my room," he said. "My window faces the alley. Around 1 in the morning, I heard someone arguing." "Arguing?" I repeated. "Yeah, a man's voice, angry." "What did he say?" Emily asked. Kyle hesitated. He kept saying, "Stop crying, you're going to ruin everything." A chill spread through the crowd. "That's awful," Mrs. Carter whispered. "Did you see him?" I asked. Kyle nodded slowly. just for a second when he walked under the streetlight. "Well?" Mr. Jenkins urged. Kyle pointed toward the apartment building. "He went inside that building." People immediately turned toward the old brick apartments towering beside us. It had 12 units, 12 possible suspects, and somewhere among them, a killer. At that moment, the front door of the building opened. A man stepped outside. He looked irritated by the crowd. "What's going on out here?" he snapped. I recognized him immediately. David Langley. He lived in apartment 3B and worked at the local auto shop. Quiet guy, kept to himself. Kyle suddenly stiffened. "That's him," he whispered. The crowd's attention snapped toward David. "What are you staring at?" David asked defensively. Emily stepped forward. A child was found dead in this alley. His face went pale. "I didn't see anything." Kyle's voice shook, but he spoke louder. "You were the one arguing last night." His eyes flicked toward him. "You're mistaken." But something in his expression changed. Panic. Mr. Jenkins lifted his cane slightly. "Boy," he said in a calm but dangerous tone, "did you hurt that child?" David laughed nervously. "Are you people insane?" But he had already started stepping backwards toward the street, and that's when Mrs. Carter shouted, "He's running!" David turned and bolted. The reaction was instant. 3 men from the neighborhood sprinted after him. I ran too, my heart hammering. He made it half a block before someone tackled him near a parked truck. He fought wildly, shouting, cursing, trying to break free. "I don't understand," he yelled. "It was an accident." The words froze everyone. "What accident?" I demanded. His face twisted with fear. "She wouldn't stop crying," he gasped. "I just wanted her quiet for a minute." My blood turned cold. "What did you do?" Emily asked, her voice shaking with fury. "I grabbed her neck, just for a second." He started crying now, but she stopped breathing. The crowd erupted in angry shouts. "You killed her! She was a child! You monster!" Someone called the police again, this time screaming into the phone. Within minutes, sirens wailed down the street. 2 patrol cars screeched to a halt beside us. Officers jumped out and quickly handcuffed David, pulling him away from the furious crowd. As they shoved him into the car, he kept repeating the same thing. "It was an accident. It was an accident." But no one believed him, not after what he'd done. Later that day, investigators learned the girl's name, Lily Harper. She had wandered away from a nearby neighborhood park after getting separated from her older brother. David had found her crying in the street. Instead of helping her, he dragged her into the alley to silence her, and in that moment of cruelty and panic, he ended her life. When the police car finally drove away with him inside, the entire neighborhood stood in silence. Mrs. Carter placed a small bouquet of flowers where Lily had been found. One by one, others added candles. Emily wiped tears from her eyes. "She deserved better," she said softly. Mr. Jenkins nodded. "At least," he said, looking down the street where the police car disappeared, "the man who hurt her won't walk free again." The alley was quiet once more, but this time the silence carried something different. Justice, and the promise that even in a small town where people once looked away, they would never ignore the truth again. Thanks for watching.